Welcome to the Generational Wealth Podcast. Colleges are closing faster than ever. Today, I'm going to show you why that's happening and what you need to know about why you should or shouldn't go to college and what your best options are if you want to make money. All I need y'all to do is smash that like button. Thank y'all so much for joining. And shout out to all of you who've checked out my free webinar on the 3 keys to financial freedom. Guys, this is a free 1-hour training where I'm showing you how to make passive income. In this webinar, I'm showing you how you can stop trading time for money. Most people only make money through an hourly wage or a fixed salary. So if you want to know how you can start creating multiple streams of income, you definitely need to check this out. I'm all about creating generational wealth, giving that to the community, and I want to show you how to do it. So please check this out. Link is in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Big shout out to all of my sponsors. Shout out to everyone who keeps this channel going. A sponsor is anyone who donates to the show. If you guys get a lot of value from tonight's podcast, and I know you will, please make sure that you tap the dollar icon directly below. It only takes a few bucks, but it goes a really long way towards growing this channel and all of the proceeds I put towards making this show bigger and better. Guys, if you've been on this platform before, you already know how I'm coming. We got a lot to talk about, so let's go right in. Whoever makes the highest donation for tonight's podcast will be the official sponsor of the show. Enough talking. Let's talk about this, y'all. Why are so many colleges shutting down? I got to show you all the facts on this. Y'all know I always come with receipts. I want to show you guys the reason why this is happening. More colleges set to close, even as top schools experience application boom. Even as college applications surge, a number of institutions are in financial jeopardy. Smaller, less selective schools have been the hardest hit, while the country's most elite colleges and universities continue to thrive. Guys, I want you to notice what's happening. The article shows that there are more people applying to colleges, but there are more colleges shutting down. What's happening? Citing inflationary pressures and sinking enrollment, more colleges are set to close in 2023. Already, Presentation College in Aberdeen, South Dakota, Casanova College in Casanova, New York, Holy Names University in Oakland, California, shout out to Oakland, and Living Arts College in Raleigh, North Carolina, announced they will shut down after the current academic year. The consequences of fewer students and less tuition revenue since the start of the pandemic have been severe. Now, one of the reasons why a lot of these colleges are shutting down is because they lost money during the pandemic. When the lockdowns happened, the schools and universities got hit the hardest. And I'm going to talk more about that. A lot of colleges are shutting down this year. And shout out to Ariel, who's on. She says she's really curious about this topic. Now, just to give you a little background, I too am a college graduate. I graduated from college in 2010. I went to Baylor University. I got my degree in business administration. My concentration was in management information systems. And I went on to work as an IT project manager in corporate America. But the reason why I'm sharing this today is because I really want to tell you guys about my college experience and what I think about if college is right for you. I see some guys that'll speak on this topic and they've never gone to college. So they really don't know what the college experience is all about. But as someone who's gone to college and retired from corporate America, not even using my degree in my professional life, I really want to share with you guys some lessons on if you should go to college or not. But before I get into all of that, let's go back to the article. The article talks about why so many schools are shutting down. It says the consequences of fewer students and less tuition revenue since the start of the pandemic have been severe. Larger institutions can weather the storm. And look at this. The number of colleges closing down in the past 10 years has quadrupled compared with the previous decade. Guys, I want you to see this is crazy. The number of colleges that have been closing down over the past decade has quadrupled compared to the decade that came before it. Something's happening. Not only have many smaller institutions struggled as students opt for less expensive public schools or alternatives to a 4-year degree altogether, but economic uncertainty and inflation also continue to weigh on markets, taking a hefty toll on endowments and leaving more colleges and universities in financial jeopardy. Meanwhile, the country's most elite institutions are thriving. Now, what does this mean? What this means is a lot of the colleges that didn't have a $1 billion endowment, meaning they didn't have billions of dollars in their savings accounts, they're going under. They couldn't survive everything that occurred over the past few years. When the pandemic happened, it affected a lot of businesses. And as y'all know, college is big business. This is showing that as the economy has taken a hit, there's been so many colleges and universities that has suffered. However, the top colleges in the world, they are thriving. They're getting more applications. People are sending more money. Their name is buzzing more than ever. I'm not going to read this entire article, guys, but I really think it's interesting that even though more people are enrolling in college and submitting applications over the past few years, more colleges are still closing now more than ever. Today, I want us to talk about why this is happening, what people are doing, and how you should think about this if you're looking to go to college. Shout out to Brother Ian. Happy to see you on, man. He says, people have to understand college is a business. Absolutely. Their interests are to sign you up into a big loan. Oh, yeah, I know a lot about that. When I graduated from college, I had over $95,000 in student loan debt. And I had no idea that I had gotten myself into that much debt when I was going. A lot of us, when we went off to college, we were just signing our name on documents, thinking that all these schools was giving out free money. I was just looking for a reason to get out of the hood. And so I want you guys to really consider so many people, whether they've gone to college or not, are really considering, is this degree worth the investment? Is it really worth it to spend the next 4+ years spending all this money into something and I don't know what I'm going to get back? Look at what Ian said. I've seen way too many of my friends go into meaningless degrees, jazz music, gender studies, etc. And that's the reason why I told y'all, when I went to college, I studied information technology. When I went to Baylor University, shout out to Baylor Sic 'em Bears, I researched What are the top degrees that make the most money once you graduate? I did not go to college just to try to get some degree in underwater basket weaving and then cry about how expensive the education is. When you go to college, you need to make sure that you go there with a purpose. That's what we're going to talk about on tonight's show. If you're just now joining, make sure that you smash that like button. We're talking about the education crisis, why more colleges are closing now than ever before. But guys, everybody's got an opinion on college, but let's talk about the facts, okay? The average 4-year bachelor's degree from a public college comes with $32,000 in debt. The average 4-year bachelor's degree from a private school comes with $59,000 in debt. These are real numbers. If you go to a public school, on average, you're going to walk away with $32,000 in student loans. If you go to a private college, the average person walks away with $59,000 in student loans. Now, y'all, I walked away with almost double that. And I got me a 4-year bachelor degree. The reason why it cost so much money is because I went to 2 private universities in 5 years. I spent my first 2 years at the University of San Francisco. Shout out to the Dons. And then I transferred to Baylor University. When I transferred, I was only planning on staying in college for another 2 years. But because the credits worked differently at Baylor, we won't talk about that, y'all. I ended up having to stay an extra year, but I didn't plan for that. So I spent 5 total years in college, which racked up over $95,000 worth of student loans. On top of all of the money that I had in scholarships, it still cost me $100,000 in debt to go to college. And this is something that I need y'all to know. If we're going to have a serious conversation about if you should go to college, you need to understand the numbers. These are facts. I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. I'm telling you guys how much it costs to go to a 4-year public school as well as a 4-year private school. We're not even talking about getting advanced degrees like a master's or a PhD. Another thing that I need y'all to understand, these are the facts. The facts are college grads tend to earn more than those who don't have a college degree. On average, college graduates earn more than those who don't go to college over the course of their careers. This is just the facts, guys. You can pull out all the numbers that you want. Oh, but look at Henry Ford. The average person is not Henry Ford. But Bill Gates dropped out of college. You ain't Bill Gates. The average person doesn't make more money than someone who has a college degree. And I'm a firm believer that not everybody should go to college. In fact, I question whether I would have made more money had I not gone to college at all. Just being honest. With where my focus already was when it came to understanding computers and just putting my attention in the right place, I'm confident that if I would have made better decisions as a teenager, I would have made a lot more money just building my business at a young age than what I did in going to college for a 4-year degree. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you guys. The most important information that I've ever learned came after I graduated from college. But the problem is, a college degree is a lot like a rites of passage. I needed a college degree to get my foot in the door to work for big tech companies, because a lot of tech companies, when I was graduating from college, did not allow you to work for them if you weren't college educated. But now there's so many different opportunities. And some of you guys will say, well, college isn't for me, but I just got to give you the facts. The average person makes more money with a college degree than without it. You got some people who have never gone to college that makes more than the average college graduate. But on average, if you got the degree, you tend to do better than someone who doesn't. The question is, why are so many people not going to college? What is happening? Well, obviously, the first reason why so many people are no longer going to college is because of cost. The price of education has risen significantly over the years, making it hard for most people to afford higher education. I mean, even when you go back to the article that we discussed, one of the things that it talked about is how a lot of people that are going to college are not going unless they come from wealthy families. I'm talking about right now, 2023. Now, in years prior to this, you could have come from the hood, you could have qualified for all of these different grants, and a lot of that still applies. But college tuition is so high that studies show that most of the applicants in this day and age are not applying if unless they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, because upper class people are the only ones that can afford it. The cost is getting sky high, and that's the reason why there's so many colleges that are going under, because who can afford to pay it? All of these other run-of-the-mill colleges, they can't keep up anymore. So unless you one of the big dogs like Harvard or Princeton, you cannot command those high prices. You got to be able to have some prestige behind your name. People got to be able to look and say, man, this is really worth the money. But if it ain't one of the big colleges, a lot of these schools are in jeopardy. The reason why so many people are no longer enrolling is because of cost. Another reason why so many people are not enrolling into college is because of all of the alternatives. Guys, there are so many alternatives now to traditional education. You got to think about the opportunity that comes with vocational schools, trade programs, online learning platforms that gives you guys a lot of options. I'm telling y'all, a lot of these online learning platforms that you see today, it wasn't around when I was in college. And a lot of content is going out right now for free than a lot of these kids are learning in universities. I'm not saying that as some kind of online guru that's just hating on colleges. I'm saying this as someone who paid $100 per class. When I was in college, every single class that I went to cost $100 a session. I'm telling you what I know. But the problem is, a lot of people think nobody benefits from college. That's a myth. I got to show you guys the reasons why people should go to college and the reasons why people should not go to college. I'm going to lay all the cards out on the table. And it's going to be up to you to decide how you want to operate. One of the big reasons why so many people are no longer enrolling is because there's so many alternatives and because there's a lack of perceived value. Guys, the appeal of college is losing a lot of interest. A lot of people are questioning whether or not a college degree is really valuable, especially if there are companies that are giving out good jobs for people that don't need a degree in the first place. I know a lot of people that I was graduating with, first couple years coming out of college, they was working at Starbucks. They was going back home, living with their parents. A lot of people's degree didn't take off. For some, it might have taken years before their degree really worked for them. But you spend so much money, you have to really know going into it, is this something that I'm going to get a solid return on my investment? A lot of people are questioning that. Let me check out some of these comments. If y'all are just now getting on, make sure that you smash that like button. Tonight, we're talking about the education crisis, why more colleges are closing than ever before. Make sure, guys, that you see both sides of the argument. A lot of people operate on both extremes. Your parents say, go to school, get good grades, go to college. Don't worry about what those YouTubers are talking about. Everybody needs to go to college. I don't care what college you go to. I don't care what the degree is. Go to college, go to college, go to college. If you want to live a good life, you should go to college. But this isn't 1970. Back during those days, having a college degree set you apart from the crowd. But the average person going into a corporate workspace has a 4-year degree. They've got some kind of credentials, whether it's from a community college, whether it's a certification, whether it's a bachelor's degree. Right now, that's par for the course. So degrees in general might not hold the same weight as they used to during your parents' day, but you get so much pressure from parents and other family members on why you should go to college. And now you get a lot of folks, millennials and Gen Zers, talking about, no, nobody should go to college. College is a ripoff. That's the reason why we have to have balance. We've got to be able to see, okay, when does it make sense to go to college and when does it not make sense to go to college? Look at Ariel. Ariel says, here's what I don't understand. Why is college so expensive when they get so many donations from alumni, grants, etc.? Did they just get too greedy? That's a great question. And for some of these colleges, I can't make no excuse for them. And the problem is a lot of it is not regulated. Like when you look at some of these colleges, especially private institutions that have all these billion-dollar endowments, they can do what they want. They're not getting taxed. But then you'll see a lot of these other schools, especially ones that are like public schools that are really funded by the government, where the government has the power to change the prices around. Ariel says, I agree that college isn't necessary anymore. I know people that just took a coding boot camp and then landed a high-paying job without college. Man, Ariel, you giving out some of the gems from tonight's show. I ain't even gonna be able to talk about it. But yes, absolutely. That's such a great point. You know, there are so many different fields where there's just shortcuts now that wasn't offered from the time that we went to college. Ariel went to college, and a lot of these different programs and opportunities, it wasn't as popular then as it is today. Ariel says that she wished that she would have done that. But let's talk about this, guys. Why are so many people not going to college? We talked about the cost. We talked about the value. We talked about how many people are concerned on whether or not they're really getting a solid ROI, return on investment. A lot of people are just doing other things with their life. They might have taken on other paths and decided that they've got other priorities and college doesn't fit in. But honestly, the reason why so many universities have been disrupted is because of everything that happened with the pandemic. There's so many people that got frightened. Oh man, if I go to college, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get the Rona. This is going to be the end for me. And a lot of people dropped out. So I want you guys to just consider that times are changing. Not only are there so many alternatives now to going to college, but a lot of people are getting more skeptical for one reason or another. And going back to what Ariel had said about these coding boot camps, I want to show you guys some of the alternatives that people are making to go to college. They're going into these programs instead. And these are some of the avenues you might want to consider. One of the things that we've already talked about, trade schools. Trade schools offer career-specific training where if you want to know how to repair cars, you want to be a mechanic, if you want to be a plumber, if you want to do electrical work, you go to a trade school for these occupations. And guys, plumbers make good money. There's a lot of stats that shows that there are certain industries in the blue collar sector that on average outperform guys that are in white collar professions. Don't think that just because somebody is working in construction that they broke. No, for a lot of these guys, they're really making a lot of money without getting into a lot of debt. You got a lot more people now getting into apprenticeships. So when we talked about construction and we talked about healthcare, there's a lot of people now that are taking on apprenticeships instead of college where they're learning under someone directly. I always tell you guys about the power of having a mentor, somebody who's 10 to 20 years ahead of you that's able to show you how to get ahead. That's something that is very critical. Online learning platforms like Coursera, Udemy, they're showing a lot of people how to have expert knowledge in certain areas. And you know the thing that's so crazy, guys? One of the benefits about these online learning platforms is that it takes top scholars around the world and gives them a platform to teach you guys from wherever you're at. I mean, you got to consider if you're going to a college, you only have access to the best professors in that university. But if you're studying from an online platform, you have access to elite trainers from around the world. Now, I want to say this. There's obviously a bit of give and take in this, guys. Okay. If you go to a college, you're trusting that a university has already vetted out people who've studied the information in and out. And that might be very valuable. A lot of these guys that are on YouTube now, they might be talking about stuff, but have absolutely no experience. But the other side of that is a lot of these college professors, man, they could be teaching on concepts that they've never done in real life. But you can go and learn from somebody online who's actually done this. So you could go to college and you can learn about real estate from somebody who doesn't own any real estate whatsoever. All they know is something that they've learned in a book. But you've got guys online right now who actually own tons of real estate. I always tell you guys about how I own over $1 million worth of real estate in Texas. I'm not a college professor, but I can tell you how I did that in real life. And I own more real estate assets than your average college professor, even that teaches on entrepreneurship and real estate. So you got to start to ask yourself, who do you want to learn from? One of the things I always talk about is how you got to make life about nonstop learning. This is a problem too. A lot of times people will go to high school or college, and then as soon as they graduate, they don't want to learn anything. If that's what you're doing, you're setting yourself up for failure. No matter if you go to college or not, you need to be dedicated to lifelong learning. This is something that Jim Rohn talked about. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. So if you're thinking, oh man, all I got to do is get my GED, you're going through life with the wrong mindset. If you're going through life thinking, all I got to do is go to college, you don't understand how the market works. The market doesn't reward people simply off of a degree. The market rewards you based on the value that you bring to the marketplace. Your value is determined by your skills. The only question is, where are you going to learn your skill set? Are you going to learn it in college? Are you going to learn it at a trade school? Are you going to learn it through self-education? That's something that you've got to figure out. But like Ariel talked about, there's so many people who are getting high-paying jobs going through a coding boot camp. You got people that are signing up for 6-week, 8-week, 12-week boot camps. And then as soon as they get into these programs and get out, they're walking away with $60,000 plus jobs guaranteed. Let me look at some of these comments. Ian says, I obtained an associate degree in business and recently started working towards a bachelor's in supply chain management. That's a good field. As a first-generation Hispanic born in the States, if you do not attend school, it is frowned upon, especially since most of our people work in very tough, laborious jobs. Now, see, that's another thing that y'all got to think about. A lot of us are under pressure because of our culture. A lot of us get taught, you're going to be the first one in the family to go to college. Don't blow it. And a lot of kids don't even want to go to college, but they go because their family would disown them if they didn't attend. You've got to make these decisions for you, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that has to live with the consequences. When I went to college, I made sure that I got a job that could pay me good money, because I knew I would eventually have to pay off that student loan debt. And shout out to my brother Yasha Allah for the $20 sponsorship. Thank you so much for starting us off, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the $20 sponsorship. For those of you guys that are just getting on, we're talking about the education crisis, why more colleges are closing than ever before. For those of you guys that are getting a lot of value from this content, please donate to the channel. Whoever gives the highest donation for tonight will be the official sponsor of the podcast. On this show, I'm going to show you whether you should go to college or not. What we've talked about thus far is that college is not for everybody, but it is for some. And when you look at the facts, the average person makes more money with a college degree than those who don't have one at all. You've got to decide your path. Let's look at this, y'all. Should you think about a coding boot camp? If you're trying to get into the IT industry, that's definitely something you want to think about, especially because it is. Let me tell you all a story. When I went to Baylor, a lot of the coding languages that are used in real companies were not being taught in school. You would have all of these advanced languages, Perl, Python, all these different things. I ain't trying to get too nerdy for y'all. I'm just trying to give y'all the game. But then when you're in college, you're learning Visual Basic, C++. For those of you that don't know what these coding languages are, I'm just making the point that the content was outdated. Whatever we learned in college, we would not actually apply that in real life. The only reason why the tech companies would want us to go to college is to show that we knew how to consistently follow a curriculum. They wanted us to show that we knew how to go to class day in and day out, make the grades, and that we would stick to something long enough to achieve. Everything that we learned about the IT industry, we learned on the job. Most of it had absolutely nothing to do with what we were learning in college. But college was necessary because without the degree, you could not get your foot in the door. Fortunately, a lot of people are able to sidestep that now through these coding boot camps. Entrepreneurs, school might not be for you. There are so many different training platforms that are out there for entrepreneurs. You may not need to go to college to learn entrepreneurship. And y'all know a lot of people decide, hey, I'm not going to go to go to college. Instead, they'll go to the military. Now, military wasn't the path for me. My dad told me, no way I'm letting you do that. But for some, it is the path for them. And so I'm just throwing these different avenues out there just to show you why a lot of people are no longer going to college. I'm letting you know what most people are doing as an alternative to college, just so you can make the decision that works best for you. But y'all, I want to add balance to this discussion. Like I told y'all, I'm not saying that everybody should go to college, and I'm not saying that nobody should go to college. I'm saying you need to decide. So when you think about if college is the right fit, I want to make this as simple as possible for you to make the best decision. And that's why I'm going to show you the degrees that will make you the most money. The first degree path that you should consider if you want to make the most money in going to college is anything involving STEM: science, technology, engineering, and math. These fields have high earning potential due to strong demand in the marketplace. If y'all have been on this podcast, you know I always tell you the key to generational wealth is having rare skills in high demand. If you know how to do something that billions of people know how to do, you're not going to make a lot of money. The people that make a lot of money are those who have very rare skills that are in high demand. That comes from these fields. So if you have a degree in computer science, you're likely to make more money than the average person because you have skills that most people don't have. If you have a degree in engineering, you're likely to make more money. My wife, the little brainiac that she is, graduated with a degree in applied mathematics. The average person is not that good at math. I can't even add 1 plus 2 to 1 plus 1 together, y'all. I can't even do 2 plus 2 is 4. But you let Ariel start talking to you and she knows how to tell you all kind of math equations and this and that. I could never for the life of me imagine spending 4 years in college to do math. It would be a nightmare. But hey, God bless her heart. And it's worked out very well for her. The point is that you want to gain specialized knowledge. Another industry that works very well is business and finance. If you go to school for accounting, that's going to give you a higher salary than somebody that's going to school for communications. You got to know which degrees offer the highest earning potential. If you're going to school for management, especially for those of you that are looking to get advanced degrees, some of you guys might want to get MBAs, Master of Business Administration. That's likely to make you more money than the average person. You've got to do something to separate yourself from the crowd. If you go for a career in healthcare, then you might need a degree for those areas. I went to college with people that became dentists, surgeons, even physicians. And it takes a lot of training in order to get there. Some of these guys, these fields guys that I'm talking about, you just can't walk up in there and say that you want to work. You got to have training, degrees on top of degrees, advanced degrees, certifications. You got to be able to have all of that on top of ours in order to qualify. Another high-paying degree is in law. My right-hand man in Wisconsin right now, killing it, went to school to study law. You got to ask yourself, if you go to college, are you pursuing something that's worth your while? Don't just go to college just to be able to, play beer pong and go to parties. You don't need to go to college for that. You could save a lot of money. A lot of people will go to college just as an excuse to not go and deal with the real world. But if you're just looking to pass the time, that's a very expensive way to do it. One other degree path that people don't talk a lot about is the education field. That can make you a lot of money, but it can only make you money if you're going through specific paths. So if you're going through the education route to be a college professor, well, that can offer you a fairly good salary, and it provides you with tenure. Tenure is whenever you're employed at a university long enough to where now it guarantees you're locked in. You're able to stay at that university throughout your career. And so these are some of the different degree plans that makes the most money. Now, what are some of the degrees that make the least money? I don't want y'all to be mad at me. I'm just throwing this out there if you're wondering if you should go to college or not. Degrees that make the least money typically include social work and human services, education, arts and humanities, communications and media, and hospitality and tourism. Let me break these down. If you get a degree in social work and human services, a lot of people who get that end up taking jobs as child welfare workers, social service case managers. It's a public service that you're offering, but it comes with a lower salary. Now, for some of you guys, it's not about the money. You're going into these fields because you want to make a lot of impact. And that's fine. But just know you cannot get some of these degrees and think that you're about to be bowling out. Don't think that you're going to go to some private university where you're going to be paying $100,000 just for a degree in social services and thinking that you're about to make seven figures. Not going to happen. You got to put a lot of this into perspective. And even when you talk about these different occupations, it takes time for your career to build. We talked about education earlier. Education could come with a lot of money, but that's only through specific paths. If you're trying to be a college professor, it can offer you a high salary. But if you're going through the path of education to be a children's teacher or a TA, a teacher's assistant, you're not going to make that much. If you get into arts and humanities, like you go to school for art, literature, history, you're not going to make a lot of money, especially if you're not getting an advanced degree. If you're talking about communications and media, there's some jobs in that field that can make good money. Like if you're an advertising executive or you're a PR manager, but a lot of entry-level journalism positions don't come with the bag. I'm just warning you guys now so that before you or your children go to college, you know what to expect. You can just watch this podcast and figure out, is this the path that I want? Sis Hanaya says, I have a BA in psychology. I was considering going back to get my MSW or MFT and get licensed. Well, I'm so happy that you're on, sis. So that way we can talk about if this is going to be the right move for you. Sis Anaya also says, I can vouch, LOL, I have worked in child welfare for 7 years and a social worker for 3 years. They don't pay you for the hard work that you do. Most upper management that run CPS do not have degrees. Wow. And I thank you for sharing that, sis, because, there's a lot of people that have questions. Is this a path that I should pursue? And so for all of y'all that are on, leave a comment about if you went to school or not, what career path that you're in right now, and how that's working out for you. I want to see what feedback and thoughts you guys have to help us show the people whether or not going to college is the right move at all. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the link to the panel. So that way, if y'all want to hop on a panel and y'all want to talk about this a little bit more, we can do that. I'm still about to go through this session with y'all. I'm about to give y'all this content. But just in case y'all want to cam up, feel free. This is something really important that needs to be discussed. Now, if you guys are just joining, make sure that you smash that like button. Make sure that you share this on social media. I know that you got family members and friends asking the question, should I go to college? Right now, I'm breaking down the degrees that make the most money. I'm also showing you guys the degrees that make the least amount of money. And then we're going to talk about the colleges that typically gets people the most paid. I need y'all to tap into this content, y'all. We talked about social work and human services. We talked about education. We talked about arts and humanities being among the degree paths that don't provide a lot of money. We talked about communications and media. We also just talked about hospitality. Okay, so some of you guys might work in the food service industry. You might be a hotel clerk. The reason why those jobs don't offer high salary is because there are a lot of people in those positions. The reason why it doesn't offer the highest earning potential is because it comes with a lot of competition, guys. and there's a lower bar for skills. See, what you want to do is you want to go into an industry, if you're looking to make a lot of money, where there's a high bar and lower competition. The higher the bar is, the less people will get into it. You want rare skills that are in high demand. Now, when we talk about the types of colleges that make the most money, here's something that you need. Ariel, I'm trying to give them the game. Sis Hanaya, I'm trying to show them. If you're thinking about going to college, this is the path that you want to take. I'm going to show you guys the highest earning degree plans at the best kinds of colleges. So if you're thinking about going to colleges, these are the types of universities where their alumni makes the most money. The first one is a no-brainer. Ivy League institutions. Ivy League schools like Harvard and Yale typically have graduates who walk away with high-paying positions, especially in the career paths of finance, law, and technology. If you're thinking about going to college, these are the paths that you want to consider. Another major school system is engineering and tech schools. When I was growing up in California, one of the best schools to get into for people that was going to make six figures and beyond was a school called Cal Tech, the California Institute of Technology. If you can go to a college that specializes in engineering and technology, you could almost write your own ticket, guys. Now, again, I'm not saying that every single college graduate is about to be out here making six figures, but what I can say is some colleges put you in a better position than others. If you're going to an Ivy League or a tech school, they're going to put you in a much better position than some of these other colleges. And that's the reason why you got a lot of colleges that are shutting down. They can't keep up. People are saying, hey, if I'm not walking away making at least 50 to 60,000 starting off, I don't want to go to your university. Those are the colleges that are shutting down. But these schools that I'm telling y'all about, you think Stanford is shutting down? Y'all think MIT is shutting down? Massachusetts Institute of Technology? No. These schools have graduates where they're sought out in high demand. They're learning a lot of skills. A lot of clout comes behind these degrees. It offers the graduates a lot of expertise. You got to think about if you're putting yourself in the right position to make money in colleges. Another type of school that offers a lot of money are business schools. I went to a business school. We made the most money among college degree plans. You could go to schools that specialize in business and finance. My father-in-law went to the Wharton School at University of Pennsylvania when he graduated, and over time, he made a lot of money. You got to think, okay, what path are you going down? See, the point that I'm making is you can't just throw your hands up in the air and go to any college. You can't say, oh, I'm going to be successful in life just because I'm going to college. If you're going to go to college, well, what kind of college are you going to? Is it putting you in a good position to make good money? And even when you go to a college that puts you in a good potential, you got to make sure that you're getting the right degree. There are specific kinds of degrees that offers the best payout. I wish that somebody would have told me this back when I was starting off. A lot of us didn't learn this until we were already enrolled in school. You don't learn how the game is played oftentimes until it's too late. Business schools are very important. If you want to make good money, think about medical schools. Think about the guys that go to Harvard Medical School, Johns Hopkins. They're walking away paid. If you go to University of California, San Francisco, School of Medicine, you typically walk away with a lot of money. College is not a ripoff for everybody. Colleges are a ripoff for those who don't know what they're doing. If you're only going to school just for the sake of going to school, it's going to be very easy to get ripped off. But if you're going to somewhere like law school, if you're going to a good law school, there's a decent chance that you're going to walk away with a high paying career. If you go to Yale Law School, Stanford Law School, Harvard Law School, yeah, you're going to be making real money. But the same way that you can go to colleges that can make you a lot of money, you could also go to some schools that won't make you no money at all. Let's talk about it. The kinds of schools that make the least amount of money, and again, y'all, please don't take this personally. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to educate the culture on what the statistics say. I have no personal dog in this fight whatsoever. Compared to the types of schools that I just told you about, statistically, you'll make less money if you go to community college. If you go to community college and you don't advance beyond that, statistically, that's going to lower your earning potential. Now, the reason why a lot of people go to community college is because community college, it provides you a more affordable option. A lot of prices at these four-year colleges are through the roof, but it's low risk, low reward. So you need to think about that whenever you're going to a community college. Now, one of the things that I always recommend is that if you're planning on going to college, you could spend your first 2 years going to a community college and making good grades, and then you can always transfer into a 4-year. That way you don't have to spend all 4 years paying top dollar. Again, I know guys who have graduated from top universities who spent the first 2 years in community college. It allowed them to save money, stay at home, and focus on the books. And they probably got into better colleges than they would have gotten into had they tried to go to a major 4-year right out of high school. Some of y'all know y'all's high school grades wasn't that great. If you went to high school and you had a C or a low B average, you might benefit from your first 2 years in community college. Because if you can do community college and you can make top grades, you can get into universities that you never would have been able to get into going off of your high school GPA. This is just how the game works. You might not be able to get into a USC or a UCLA right out of high school with a 2.9, but you might be able to get in there if you get a 4.0 or close to it at a community college. This is a game, y'all. This is a business, and you got to know how to play it. Another kind of college that doesn't pay the most money are liberal arts colleges. Now, liberal arts colleges may offer a well rounded education, but statistically, you have a lower earning potential in the job market. The reason why is because you don't get paid the highest as a generalist. You get paid the most money for specialized skills. Guys, let me ask you something. In the medical field, who do you think makes more money? A general practitioner or an open heart surgeon? Open heart surgeons make more money. The reason why they make more money is because they have a specialized skill set. A general practitioner, they may know a lot of things, but they're a jack of all trades and a master of none. You're going to get paid based on your mastery. So if you go to a liberal arts college, I just want you to think about that. Statistically, they don't walk away with as much money as the people who went into a specialized school. Another college, and these are very famous, don't get angry. State schools. State schools typically offer more affordable options for higher education, but on average, it comes with lower earning potential. It cannot compete with prestigious universities. Now, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. There are some amazing state colleges that are out there. Here in Texas, you have the University of Texas at Austin, amazing school. State where I grew up, California, you've got schools like UCLA, UC Berkeley, great universities. I'm speaking about state colleges on average. See, your average school is not UC Berkeley. Your average school is not UT Austin. The average state school might be lower in cost and easier for you to afford, but it doesn't hold the same weight as somebody that goes to Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Princeton, Caltech, MIT. You got to think about how well does this university create alumni networks that can have you walk away with more money. Think about that. If you're an employer, if you see somebody that went to Harvard, you're going to give them more money off top. If you see somebody that went to Yale, you're going to give them more money off top. NYU, you're going to give them more money off top. If you see somebody that went to a state school that you never heard of, chances are they're going to make less. I'm not hating on these different schools, guys. I'm just giving you the real. And as somebody who graduated from a top 100 university, I can safely tell you that me walking away with a degree from a top 100 institution definitely gives me a lot more options than somebody that didn't go to school at all. That's why the average person that's college educated makes more money than someone who's not. Not saying that college is the end all be all. I'm just giving y'all the facts. Now, this is one that I really don't want to speak on too much because I don't want y'all to think nothing, no type of a way. But I got to put this out there because there's a lot of discussion about historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs. Now, There's a lot of discussion about the type of opportunities that are available coming from HBCUs. And one place that HBCUs excels is in its sense of community and its network. There's a shout out to the HBCUs. Shout out to Howard, uh, Grambling. Shout out to Morehouse. These are amazing universities. Statistically, I think everybody knows that a lot of the predominantly white institutions, PWIs, they typically do come with a certain reputation in the market. HBCUs, you get a lot of people that go to HBCUs and they still do very well. But I do want y'all to consider that this is a factor. I know a lot of you guys heard about the situation that happened recently with Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. He had coached at a HBCU. Then he went to the University of Colorado, and there was a lot of controversy around that. I just need you guys to think about all these different factors and understand the reason why you're going to school in the first place. I'm not knocking none of these schools, and they all come with pros and cons. But if you're talking about going to a school to want to create generational wealth, you need to study what's out there before you make a choice. Let me go back to what Sis Hanaya said. She says, I agree. I went straight from high school to college and wasn't ready mentally. I took those same grades into a community college and in my early 20s and had to reevaluate my goals for school. So, see, this is a life hack that you can make right here. You might not be in the best place coming out of high school, but if you really lock in community college, that can help you level up. She also said, I ended up working for USC for 6 years in my 20s. Some students wished they would have went to community colleges first. I bet. USC cost a lot of money. She said, I was fortunate enough to go to a state university in Georgia that was ranked second in the nation for their school of psychology based off their alumni and staff that were highly known. I had to work hard though. And that's something that you want to think about before you go to college. Now we got Brother Yashala on. Just want y'all to see he's cammed up. But I'm gonna bring Brother Yashala on in just a second. I see you, King. Thank you for joining.
Shalom, Elder.
Bring him on in just a second, so that way I can go through these reasons why you should go to college and why you shouldn't. And then Brother Yashala, take him away. Okay. So let's talk about this. What are the reasons why you should go to college? In everything that we've gone over thus far, what are the reasons why going to college makes sense? Well, if we're looking at the facts, the reason why you should go to college is for increased earning potential. On average, college graduates earn more over the course of their careers than those without a college degree. You also should go to college for more career opportunities. Now, there's some of you guys that are out there that don't need a degree for what you do at all. But many careers require a college degree. And getting the degree will provide you with the training and the skills necessary to succeed in a particular field. You want to be a doctor, you got to go to college. You want to be a lawyer, you got to go to college. You want to be making these six-figure jobs at some of these Fortune 500 companies. In many of their professions, you have to go to college. That's bare minimum. A lot of times, if you're really trying to get these top paying jobs, you got to go to college and you got to get some extra certifications racked up. Also, college can expose you to personal and professional growth. You're going to get new experiences. You're going to embrace new ideas. You're going to have access to resources that you may have never had before. When I was in college, this was the first time that it put me around a larger number of Black people that was growing professionally. It put me in front of people that were already successful in their industries. Now, the high school that I went to, that was all fine and dandy. But college is where I really started to find people that put in work, finding people that, okay, this is where they're excelling in their career. These are people that are doing internships. These are the types of people that I need to be hanging around if I'm trying to make something of my life. Maybe you're not going to be able to do all of this on your own. That's why the average person makes more money going to college than not, because your environment shapes who you are. If you're not just a one-man army and, hey, I'm going to just learn everything self-educated, you might need to go to college so that way you can be around people that are actually driven. Some of y'all are in environments where the people are not driven at all. And that was the reason why I went to college, because I wanted to put myself in a better space. I needed to be in a better environment. College brings personal and professional growth. That's if you're seeking it out. If all you just doing is going there to party, well, then obviously you ain't going to be getting a whole lot of personal and professional growth. Network opportunities. Guys, I want you to hear me good. Network opportunities may be the one reason why I tell my son to go to college. If God blesses me with multiple children, network that you get from college is the primary reason why I say you should go, if that's what you want to do. Here's the reason why I say that. I already own a business. I'm a best-selling author. I already own real estate. I have over $1 million worth of real estate assets. It's not mandatory that my children go to college. But despite the assets that I plan to give to them, one thing that I can't provide is a more extended network. I already have a network of my own. I already have an alumni association, professional groups, church folks, list goes on. But I'm saying, especially when you think about what culture you come from, you might not be able to connect with like-minded people unless you put yourself in an environment like college. Let me explain what I'm saying. I never met anyone like my wife until I went to college, because I grew up in a neighborhood where that type of presence wasn't around. Now, if we wanted to talk about shooting craps, shooting dice, gang banging, robbing and killing, then yeah, I could have found somebody in the local environment. But if I'm trying to find someone that comes from my same ethnicity and culture, who was raised with a good head on their shoulder, who's driven and trying to pursue things in life and create a family, the outlet that helped me find that was college. Am I saying that's the only network? No. But I'm saying it is a powerful network. Even if you are well off financially, you may still want your children to go to college for networking alone. I'm sure you guys have watched television shows like, say, for example, Power. You'll watch shows like Power and Ghost, where Tariq will go to college not because he's actually learning ways to make money, but because he has an access to a network of people where other wealthy families are linking up with other wealthy families. They have their kids all linking up with each other in schools, and then they start to marry each other or build bonds. College has an excellent network. That's if you're going to the right college for the right purpose. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. Also, colleges can potentially provide you with more job security than having no degree at all. You got to think about it. Just pure competition. If there's mass layoffs happening, the people that have the least amount of skill sets and credentials, they're going to be the first ones laid off instead of the people that have those specialized skills. People with college degrees are statistically known to have more job satisfaction than the people who don't. And that's the reason why Ian made the points that he made earlier. Look what he said. As a first generation Hispanic born in the States, if you do not attend school, it is frowned upon, especially since most of our people work in very tough, laborious jobs. There are statistics on this, guys. I'm just telling y'all the facts. Statistically, people who don't have college degrees hate their jobs more than the people who do have college degrees. This is the reason why Ian's family is saying this. This is why it's something that's culture. Ian also says, good points in why to attend school. Many people knew I attended for the parties and just because they were forced. Yes. So if that's the only reason why you're going, then hey, you can't complain. You got what you paid for. Also, Ariel says, so true. The network that I gained in college made it completely worth the time and money. Look at this, y'all. See, I'm not trying to lie on colleges. I'm just trying to give y'all the facts. That's what this podcast is all about, helping you make wise decisions so that you can build wealth for your family. The last thing that I want you to consider is the reason why college might be a good route for you is for intellectual development. Now, I know, guys, you can watch videos on YouTube, you can Google stuff. When you go to college, it puts you in an environment of people who are intelligent. It puts you in an environment where you're able to develop critical thinking skills. You're going to learn intangible skills in college if you're going to a good college, following the steps that I showed you, not just going there for partying. You're going to develop skills going down the right path in college that can really last you a lifetime. I remember when I was in college, it taught me a lot about persistence, negotiation, networking, certain intangibles that a lot of people don't get. You're going to learn things going to school, hard lessons that can last with you for a lifetime. Guys, I was homeless in college. I learned life lessons going through that experience. My mama told me, don't leave the dorms. I said, no, mom, I got to leave these dorms. This is my last year in college. I'm going to stay in the frat house. Me and the frat brothers was going and, doing what you do in college. And sure enough, what happened? Somebody stopped paying their rent. And then I was out on the street. And that taught me a lot about managing finances before I got out into the real world. The lessons that I learned from that one experience is a large part of the reason why I have success today. The reason why I've been able to do well financially is because I already learned what not to do when I was in college. So, guys, college comes with a lot of learning experiences. Now, reasons why you shouldn't go to college: the cost. If you don't have a way to justify why you're getting into all this debt, going to college makes no sense. If you're just going there to slack off, but you're racking up tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And see, this is another thing, and y'all don't even want me to talk about this. Can I talk my talk for a moment? I ain't even gonna go too deep into it. But some of y'all, especially ladies, you will go to college, bachelor's degree, master's, PhD. But then as soon as you're done with this program, you then want to get married to a guy and stay at home and not work. But what was the point of racking up all that debt in the first place? Now, I know some of y'all not going to like me saying that. I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all. If you're thinking into the future, you want to be thinking about, okay, if I'm getting $100,000 in debt, then that means that I'm most likely investing in a career path that's going to make me, at minimum, a couple $100,000 in income over the long term, if for nothing else, just to pay off the debt. Now, again, I told you, you could go to college just for the networking opportunities. You know something that they talked about a lot when I went to Baylor? The MRS degree. A lot of women went to college to find their husbands because they wanted to find men that was driven, goal-oriented, and had really strong potential. But they didn't need to go to school for 12 years straight to figure that out. They was going for a 4-year degree, in and out, got the MRS degree, and now they're living life happily ever after, married with children. But I'm telling y'all, if you don't count the cost, this is the reason why you might not want to go to college. It's just way too expensive right now for y'all to be playing games. Straight up. If you're not going down a lucrative path, think twice. If you don't know exactly why you want to go, but you're just in there going, think twice. I'm a college graduate. I can tell you it's not for everybody. You also want to think about the alternative plans that I mentioned earlier. Some of you guys may benefit better from going to a trade school. Some of you guys may work better going through an apprenticeship. Some of these online platforms can help propel your future. Some of you guys just might hate school. I wasn't a big fan of school, but I went into it with the mindset that this was my meal ticket. If you're not going into it with that mindset, maybe you shouldn't go. If you're not book smart, if you're not looking to actually learn anything from these classes, might not be worth your time. You want to make sure that you make the highest return on your time. That's more valuable than money. You cannot afford to waste 4 years doing nothing. And some of you might decide not to go to college because you have other life priorities. Some of you guys might put family commitments over going to college. Some of y'all got real situations. Some of you guys got career goals that have nothing to do with college. Some of you guys, you have interest in life where college just isn't the right fit. College don't work for everybody. So in that situation, you shouldn't go. Last but not least, y'all, if you don't know what your path looks like, maybe you shouldn't go to college yet. I know a lot of people, when I was going to school, they would tell me, well, I'm not going to school or I'm going to school, but I don't know what I want to do quite yet. As expensive as college is, you might not want to go into it with that mindset. Some people, they go all 4 years and still don't know what they want to do when they get out. In fact, myself, I thought when I was going to college, I was always going because I wanted to, work at a job where I was able to be on computers. Then I got into a job where I spent all day behind a computer and I couldn't stand it because there were other talents that God gave me outside of using a computer that were suffering in that field. I still love computers, but I like doing it on my own terms. That's why I started my own business. But despite the fact that I retired from corporate America in my 20s, I'm still thankful that I went to college because the lessons that I learned, I don't regret having gone, but the only reason I feel that way is because of everything that I got out of it. I got a lot of learning lessons. I got a lot of great relationships. Got my wife. We both are Baylor grads. There's a lot of outcomes that I gained from that that's priceless. If that's not your intention, you ought not to go to college at all. So, guys, I hope that you really consider this. Make the decision that works best for you. Brother Yashala, what you got for us?
And shalom, elder family. Uh,
Let me get my
Good
second.
topic. Good topic. You know what
Thank
I
you,
mean?
sir.
I'm an undergraduate. I'm like, brother, I went for the wrong reasons because my father was a frat brother. So you know what I went for. You know what I'm saying?
It was party
So
time.
well, you're right. It was party time for me. So, but you're correct. But my father told me one thing about college. He said, son, college does not guarantee you a job.
Right.
If you're going to college for a job, you're going for the wrong reason. Period. And I didn't understand that when he told me. He said, no, college only guarantees you a better position, opportunity. That's it. And opportunity comes with you afterward, what you choose to do so. And he knew, been a frat brother. I ain't gonna say you already know what he is, you know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
learned that his network was huge.
Right.
And I got over on it. I still do. Once they find out who my dad is, you know what I'm saying? And I feel good about it. I take it, you know what I mean, advantage of it. But his network is huge, which made him as a car salesman very successful.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because he dealt with the college, the deans, the mayors, because his network was huge.
Right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah.
Right. He knew brothers and sisters and you know what I mean? And who they marry and stuff like that. So everybody was just come to him.
Right.
And I learned that you have to have that. You don't have that network. Even in my business, I gotta have a network. If I don't have a network, I'll be sucking if something happened to my truck. You know
Right.
what I mean? And like
Mhm.
my daughter, like you said earlier, you gotta know what you're going for anyway. You have to know and foresee the future. And my baby daughter at her high school, I got her in a private school. She can't even graduate until she's 20.
Mm.
Because like you said early, immaturity. The schools are specialized schools. They want maturity because they produce, like you said, they're producing good students.
Right.
They're producing, you want to go to this college, this college. That's what they produce 80% of the time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like who heard of Waycross Junior College?
Right.
Valdosta State University. The names mean something too. You know what I mean? And then the college she got accepted in, everybody knows that college where she's at in the Philippines. Everybody knows it. It's one
Mhm.
of the prestigious medical school, like you said, medical. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Not a nurse, either a pediatrician or a pharmacist.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Stuff like this here. So, and I told there's other fields and pharmacists that you can choose also for, like you said earlier, being specialized.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you have to, a lot of kids, they just don't see it. They
Yeah.
go to college, get out, might do a business manager, business majors never working at McDonald's. That's what you want? That's what you want? I mean, you spent all that money to do that. Well, you could just work there, work your way up the ladder. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna spend that money for. I would never do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just a better opportunity for you not to work at a steel mill. Because when I grew up, it was steel mills. We didn't have opportunity like y'all have today. No opportunities at all. I only had three opportunities: jail, pimp, you know what I'm saying, or military. That's the only thing I had. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I didn't like the other two options. You know what I'm
I
saying?
bet.
You know what I mean? So, but now the generation is here for them, and most of them won't even take it.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I really wanted to unpack on this show is just thinking about what that path looks like. Because there's so many people that's out there that's saying, okay, well, I'm not going to go to college. Okay, well, what you going to do with your life then? Do you have a
Right.
plan? Don't think that just because you're not going to college, you're one upping somebody, because if you get out into this workplace and you have no skills, you're finished. You're going to
Right.
be going up against people that are more experienced, who have college degrees, and they're going to price you out of the market. But college is not for everybody.
Right.
And you have people that can thrive without it. But then you have some people that might not be able to thrive unless they get it. Because sometimes going to school, it turns on a switch. You might be introduced to somebody that might be very influential for you. You might, run into a professor that's a good mentor. I ran into some really great mentors when I was in college. And if I'm being honest, man, there were certain professors, they would see me, token black guy, only black kid in the class, and they would take a liking to me because they would see how driven I was, knowing that I was putting on for my entire culture. And so, again, your network, it goes a very long way. But if you're not taking advantage of the network and you're not taking advantage of the learning, then it makes no sense for you to go. I know you're gonna like what Brother Ian just said, Brother Yashala. Oh man, I tell you, Ian, right here, when you said this to Brother Yashala, man, you're giving a drunk a drink. It says another thing: this new generation seems to be quite lazy. We grow up wanting everything given to us, and it's unrealistic. Absolutely. And this is the reason why there's so many studies about how the economy is suffering, because there's not enough people going back to work.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of folks, they don't have the skill set. They're not self-driven. There's no motivation, but then wonder why there's such a mass number of homelessness in America. Whether you go to college or not, you've got to have skills. You've got to master some craft that solves problems in the world. People think, oh man, all I got to do is just be an influencer. No, this market is so saturated. If you don't have skills to be able to share with people, people don't care what you're talking about. You've got to have something of value to deliver. And so, any last comments that you got on that, Brother Yashal? I know we've been talking for a minute, but I hope the people is getting something out of it.
And like you said, college not for everybody. You got good trade school. You know what I mean? That helps you out too. That makes good money. You know what I mean? But a lot of people, like you said, don't want, like Brother Ian said, don't want to take advantage of it. They just don't.
Right.
They come to certain professions, think it's supposed to be given to you. So no, dude, you're pulling 100,000 pounds, man. There's 100,000 pounds of snow and ice on the ground. It's called black ice.
Mm-hmm.
White out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Whiteouts. You got downgrades. You got upgrades. What to do to engine over pressure. You know what I'm saying? Your air gauge drop. Then what? You coming down a 3% grade off the grapevine. These are nicknames they gave these certain mountains that everybody know for years will kill you. Grapevine, Fancy Gap, Black Bear Mountain. You know what I mean? What you do then? I don't. Then you be dead. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like today, what? 2 got killed today.
Mm.
Same thing. Ran right into the bridge because somebody didn't to measure the height and just tore the bridge overpass this down, completely down over here. You know what I mean? And it's a lot comes with it, and they don't last long in this business either. But like you said, what you do to profession is up to you. Whatever you may choose, they take it seriously for see what you're gonna do and go forward. That's it. But
Yeah.
like you said, the new generation, like Brother Iron said, I go places now, you can't even get a hamburger. They closing down at 6 o'clock. Nobody's working. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
really, dude, it's
Yeah.
6 o'clock. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They didn't want to come in. So, but that's about it.
But you know the thing about it, brother Yashala, people think that life is so easy. People think just because they got a smartphone and just because they see people making money on the internet that, all you got to do is just sit on the couch and, oh man, you gonna make money. It don't work that way, man. You still have to go out here and develop skills. I cannot stress this enough. Even for a lot of the people that you do see on the internet that are making good money, they're only making good money because a lot of them already had skills in their industry
Right,
before they shared it online. I'm
right,
watching guys, top attorneys, top real estate agents. They'll come online and talk about their career, but they already had a 6, 7 figure career before they even got online. But now everybody thinks that, oh man, all you got to do is just, say a couple words and you be good. And it's like you're trying to cheat the grind. You cannot cheat the grind.
right.
No matter what is out here, no matter what convenient technology, there's no escaping it. You got to learn skills because skills pay the bills. Thank you, brother Yashala. Appreciate having you on as always, sir. Lord's will, I see you on the next podcast.
You too, sir.
All right now. So, y'all, I hope that y'all got something good. Tonight, we answered the question, should you go to college? We talked about the education crisis, why more colleges are closing now than ever before. I showed you the types of degrees that make the most money, the type of degrees that make the least, the type of schools that make you the most money, the schools that make the least, the reasons why you should go to school, the reasons why you shouldn't. Ultimately, it's on you. I hope that you make a wise decision for your life. All right, y'all. So listen, I'm out of here. I hope that you guys got a lot of value from tonight's show. If you did, please do me a favor and donate to this channel. There's a lot of us that would have really appreciated this knowledge when we were younger. So please invest in this platform so that way I can continue to give back, guys. Not asking for a lot of money. All I'm asking you to do is tap that dollar icon directly below the live comment box. If you watch this stream after the live is over, you can still donate on YouTube. All you got to do is click the thanks button under the video so you could give a super thanks. If you like using Cash App, $Gen Wealth Podcast, you can donate there anytime. And I definitely appreciate all of the support, y'all. Please make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. We need your support. We got to keep this movement going. Don't keep this channel a secret. Be your brother's keeper. Make sure that you share this. I'm looking to be back on this Friday, y'all. More than likely it'll be sometime around 6. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I want to talk on Friday about cryptocurrency. If you're looking to invest, we're going to talk more about that on Friday, Lord willing. Thank y'all for tapping in with me. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all for enjoying the night. Thank you, John, for the support. Thank you, Sis Hanaya. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Ian. And I want to give a special shout out to our official sponsor for tonight's show, my brother, Yasha Allah. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. And hopefully I'll see you guys very soon. Take care, y'all. Keep pushing. Make sure you